guys, so today we're here to talk about my favorite thing ever. The season 5 finale of Game of Thrones aired this past Sunday, and it was insane. There is so much to talk about, so I want to talk generally about season 5 in this video, how it deviated from the books, how it didn't, what I thought worked, what I thought didn't. I know there's a lot of controversy about this. There's people who despise everyone who watches the show because they love the books. There's people who hate everyone who reads the books, which I find a little ridiculous because the show is based off the books. Kind of hard not to talk about them in relation to one another. I personally think it's great that they deviated on certain points. I think it was necessary to shorten some of the storylines. I also think that certain things didn't work as well as they planned, so we're going to discuss that. Just as a warning, if you have not read all 5 books in the A Song of Ice and Fire series, or seen up to season 5, episode 10 in Game of Thrones, the TV show, please turn this off now, go do it, it is awesome, you will not regret it, but please do not watch this video. This is going to be very, very filled with spoilers, chock full of spoilers. Please, I don't want to be responsible for spoiling you for the best series ever, so go read it, go watch it, and then come back and we can talk about it. Alright, so to start with some of the storylines that vaguely followed the books, I think Cersei's is one of the notable ones. I love Cersei Lannister's storyline in both the book and the television show. I think that Cersei is such a strong female character. Say what you will about her morally, I definitely don't think she's a role model for your children, but I love Cersei. And I was so excited to see her get arrested and to see her downfall, because she's been hanging in there all these seasons while terrible things happen to the Starks and the Baratheons, and finally she's getting her comeuppance. I think the walk was a really important scene for her, and I'm really glad that they did it so well. I know they had to fight really hard for it because it was so controversial, but I think it's such an important scene, especially for female characters in general. I think that it shows how women are treated and oppressed for sexual behavior, and I really, really appreciate that they kept that in the show. I do wish we saw more of Margaery. I know that they changed her story a little bit and how she was arrested. It really didn't have anything to do with Loras in the books and Loras being gay. It was more Cersei accusing her of adultery. And they kind of leave us with no idea what's happening to Margaery. I really want to see that because I love that they put Olenna in it. Like, Olenna is a beast and I don't even know what to say about her. She's just bow down, Olenna. I really hope that they keep her in the season, and I kind of like her little relationship with Baelish. And I want to talk about Baelish, but we'll get there. Another storyline that they kept from the book was Arya's storyline, which I'm a little bit conflicted about. I remember reading Arya's storyline and being like, holy crap, she's gonna become an assassin. And I was so excited. And I remember enjoying it, and it's been a little while since I've read the books. I kind of felt like they were stalling with her storyline this entire season, and I was kind of like, yawn, 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 when are we getting to the interesting part? I'm sick of her being nobody. I do have to say, I really did like the Meryn portion because it shows that she's still Arya Stark. But I think it was unnecessary to have like 20 minutes of her following him into a brothel and discovering he's a pedophile and eating clams. I don't know, I think that they really just dragged out her story for no reason. I was excited to see Jaqen again, but I feel like I wanted to know more about him. I want to know more about the Faceless People. I wasn't totally satisfied with Arya's storyline, however badass her whole season finale scene was, which we will get to. Who else did they stick to? They stuck to Jon's storyline very well. To an extent. They did go a little bit beyond the books, which I was actually happy with. So, they have Jon become Lord Commander, which is so great, because Jon is amazing, and a great leader, and his father's son, even though it's kind of questionable if that's really his father. But they went a little bit further with his whole wildling quest to help them, and he convinces everyone to take in the wildlings. And when he goes to get them, they show this crazy White Walker scene. It's insane. I mean, it was probably one of the most terrifying scenes on all of Game of Thrones, and I loved it. I mean, a lot of people were saying that they went too far, that never happened in the books, but who cares? There were crazy whites everywhere, and we learned more about the White Walkers. I mean, did you see the guy? He was like, raise up, and all the wildlings rose as White Walkers. I was freaking out. It was so creepy. And when that woman gets attacked by those children without eyes, oh my god, I don't even know. I'm so excited to continue the White Walker storyline, although I don't know how they're going to do that. We'll talk about that, but I was really happy that they went ahead and did that. They also stuck to Dany's storyline, kind of, and again, they went further, but we were going to get there, I feel, in the books. So they did the whole her escape on the dragons and her going into the wilderness thing, but they had her meet Tyrion first, and I am so happy that her and Tyrion finally met, because I've been waiting for this for my entire life. I mean, they are my two favorite characters. They are brilliant. They're gonna rule the Seven Kingdoms together, and if they don't, I'm gonna have problems. Tyrion is so wonderful, and I'm really, really happy, now that we're getting into storylines that deviated from the books, that they went away from his stupid, I'm drunk, I'm sad, I killed my father, who are these random people I'm on a boat with, I'm drunk storyline, and got him right to Dany. I was really happy with that. I think that they gave him much more relevant scenes in this, and they found a way to keep Jorah in it. Another storyline that really deviated from the books was Sansa's, and I have very mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, I kind of liked that she returned to Winterfell. It's been a really long time since we were in Winterfell, and I kind of missed it. I was excited to get her to her storyline, and while I was really upset that they victimized her again, that they married her off to Ramsay, that they had this potential rape scene, I don't feel like it was that poorly done. It was sort of unnecessary. I would have been just as happy to see her go off with Baelish and become a strong female character that way. But at the same time, a lot of people are saying that they focused on Theon's victimization, and I don't know what else they wanted. I mean, I didn't want them to brutally show them doing anything to Sansa, and I feel like she kind of had a Daenerys moment where she just kind of gives in and is like, I'm not gonna get anywhere by denying this, so I'm gonna have to do this. And I feel like that kind of comments on the state of women and arranged marriages. So I don't really know that I was that totally unhappy with Sansa's storyline, though I really wish that Sansa would just go be happy somewhere and have like a nice mug of hot cocoa and smile a little bit and find a nice boy. But I think it's safe to say that that's not gonna happen. So I will settle for this. One thing I'm very disappointed in, though, is the lack of Peter Baelish in this season. I mean, we get a little bit of him, and I don't really get what the game they're getting at here is, but I think he's such a conniving and meticulous character in the books, and I feel like they're kind of downplaying him in the TV show, and he's one of my favorite characters. Then there's the Jaime and Dorne storyline, which is kind of questionable again. A lot of people have commented how pointless the storyline was, how they changed it, and how it's bad. I don't know that I hated the change. I mean, I think it would have been a little bit silly for them to put Aerys Oakheart, who is the character that goes to Dorne in the books, into the television show. No one would have known him. They would have had to cast a new actor. I mean, I can understand the logic behind why they made it Jaime and Bronn, and they also got to keep Bronn in the show, and like everyone loves Bronn, so I understand it. I do sort of wish that we had more scenes from Dorne. I do think that it was downplayed a little too much. I feel like the Sand Snakes weren't quite as badass as they could have been. We had like a 2-second fight scene between the Sand Snakes and Bronn and Jaime, and it was just horrible. They all were terrible, and then they all got locked up, and then, like, one of the Sand Snakes showed her tits to Bronn, and we all live happily ever after until we find out that Marcella got poisoned. I would have liked to see more of the Sand Snakes and more of the Prince of Dorne, which I'm sure we will see next season, but I just think that they kind of downplayed that story to be Jaime and Bronn off doing bro things, and I don't know, it's not really relevant. Finally, they did Stannis' storyline, and they totally went off on a whim here, and they had Stannis decide that he was going to attack the Boltons for the north, even though he didn't have enough men, and it was freezing, and he couldn't do it. And so he sacrifices his daughter to do this because Melisandre tells him to. I've heard rumors that this was going to happen in the books. Who knows? I will have to wait till book 6 comes out to find out. But I kind of liked it. I don't know, this is an unpopular opinion. I'm really, really, really upset that Shireen is dead. I'm really sad. I almost cried at that scene. I was outraged. But I feel like it really was a great conflict to add into the story. I mean, it was horrible. And this is why we watch Game of Thrones, to watch horrible, cruel things happen to the characters. Alright, so now let's get into the season finale, and I'm gonna go storyline by storyline and discuss what happened. I have no idea where season 6 is going. I would love to talk to you guys about that. So it opens with Stannis, and Stannis is having a really bad couple of days. I mean, he just burned his daughter, which was a pretty terrible idea. Sorry, Stannis. I'm not great at politics, but that's not how you do it. So he burned his daughter, and he finds out that half of his army deserted him because he burned his daughter. Did you not think that was gonna happen? Did you see their faces while you were burning your daughter? I don't know what he expected. So he decides to go on with the battle anyway. He thinks it's gonna be a siege, which he finds out it is not. Ramsay is ready for him. He finds out that his wife killed herself, and I am very content with how they did her character development. I wasn't expecting her to care that Shireen was killed, and I really love that she's the one who ran to save her daughter. She's the one who is distraught over her daughter. I think that they really made her, I don't want to say more likable, I definitely didn't like her. She's not winning Mother of the Year. But they made her a better character at the end. They gave her some slight sort of redemption, which I feel we don't see as much from Stannis. And then Stannis finds out that Melisandre has deserted him, which is like, what even? You told him to do this, you crazy woman. So he goes on with it, and they are all killed. I mean, it's over. There are no more Baratheons in the Seven Kingdoms. Brienne actually kills Stannis, apparently. And I want to talk about that. Like, can we talk about how Brienne has been sitting in the same seat for the entire season? Girl has not moved to shower or eat or go to the bathroom. She's been sitting in that spot all season. Sansa finally lights up the torch and she's like, got us go see Stannis now. Are we serious, Brienne? You had one job. I was also a little bit confused as to why they didn't show us Stannis' death, and they did this a couple times. I don't know if they were just trying to leave us on cliffhangers or not. I feel like it's very odd for them not to show a death in Game of Thrones. I don't think that Stannis is still alive. There's no reason for him to still be alive. Why would Brienne spare him? But at the same time, I don't really see D&D as the type of people to spare us, and I was a little bit perplexed. I don't really remember the order, so this is going to be out of order. But we see Arya's storyline, and actually, we don't even know it's her. She's in the brothel with Meryn. He has these 3 girls lined up. They're 3 blonde girls, because he's a creepy pedophile. And he's trying to decide which one he's going to have sex with. And he picks one. And then she transforms into Arya, because Arya has learned how to be a faceless man. And she attacks him, she stabs him in the eyes. It's really brutal. So after that, we get Dany. Actually, first we get Tyrion and Jorah and all the people that Dany left there. I have no idea how they escaped the Harpies. I mean, she was kind of just like, sorry guys, can't fit you on my dragon, and left. And I don't really know how they got there. But they're all sitting on the steps, and they're trying to figure out what to do, because Dany has rode off on Drogon. Jorah and Daario decide to go after Dany, and let Tyrion rule Meereen with Grey Worm and Missandei. Missandei, I always say her name wrong. So, I'm really excited to see Tyrion rule a city again. I'm also a little bit terrified and anxious that Tyrion is left in charge of this crazy, revolting city with crazy people in masks. I have a feeling Tyrion is not going to be with us by the end of the series. I've kind of always expected that. I don't know what you guys think about that. But I really don't want it to be this soon. I don't want it to happen. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I also really love Dario, and if he and Danny don't make beautiful children, I'm gonna be really upset. So, Danny, get on that. Except, she can't, because she's with the Dothraki horde of people. I'm pretty sure one of those men was the guy who wanted to kill her when Khal Drogo died. So I'm a little bit concerned. I feel like her storyline could get interesting from here, but I'm also a little bit worried that she's going to become the next victimized woman. I mean, there are a bunch of crazy Dothraki men about to capture her. We know what the Dothraki do when they capture her. I really don't want to see them go there with Dany. I feel like she's a very empowered woman in the books, and I don't want to see that. So then they go to Dorne, and we see Jaime and Myrcella. They're about to leave. He's convinced the Prince of Dorne to send Myrcella back with her new fiancé. And they're gonna go back to Westeros because she's gonna be safe there. And I forget her name, but Oberyn's baby mama kisses Myrcella goodbye. And I was like, whoa girl, I don't know what they do in Dorne. Why are you kissing her on the lips? I don't know what's going on there. She poisoned her. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I should have expected it. Dorne was not going to be a happy ending. It just wasn't going to happen. But Myrcella was like the only normal one. I mean, you have Joffrey, who's probably like sitting on the throne in hell right now, torturing women. And then you have Tommen, who's like playing with kittens while his mother and wife are beaten and abused by the High Sparrow. And Myrcella just seems so refreshingly normal. And they took her. I was also very upset that it happens after this heartwarming scene. Sort of. I mean, it's kind of weird because it's incest, but it's also kind of heartwarming, where Jaime decides to tell her that he's her father. And she tells him that she knows. And I was like preparing. I was like, Jaime, what are you doing? Don't do this to yourself. But she's just like, I know, and I'm happy about it. And then she dies in his arms, the second child to die right in front of his face that he barely knew. Kind of sad. I really like Jaime, so I didn't want that to happen to him. So then we get to the Cersei scene, and I talked about this at the beginning, so I'm not going to reiterate too much, but it was insane. They did it really well, don't get me wrong. They did it really, really well. I mean, Cersei is such a strong female character, as I said, and they kind of just break her down and beat her down. And you could really tell that she was just so broken by the end of that walk. And Lena Headey is amazing. I hope they give her an Oscar. The final scene, which I don't really want to talk about. I am going to be so emotional right now. So, Ollie, the little twat that he is, runs into Jon's office, I guess, and he's like, Benjen Stark is back! And I've read the book, so I knew that Jon gets stabbed at the end, but I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of theories about Benjen Stark. Maybe they're putting off Jon until next season, and they're gonna go into Benjen Stark. And then I saw this big circle of people, and I was like, no, it's a trap, it's a trap! And it was a trap. There's this piece of wood, and it says traitor on it. And then Alistair Thorne is like, for the watch, and stabs him. And then a bunch of people just keep stabbing him for the watch. I don't even know. And then Ollie stabs him. It wasn't enough that Ollie killed Ygritte. He had to kill Jon too. He had to sink my ship, not once, but twice. So, I don't know what you guys thought about Jon's death. I originally in the books didn't think he was dead, and if he was dead, I thought, like many people, that he would be resurrected by Melisandre. And she shows up at the wall in the television show, and I was like, he's gonna get resurrected. But since then, my hopes have come crashing down on me, because Kit says he's not coming back next season. He is done. Jon is dead. I really don't know if he would have to say that anyway, because maybe he can't tell us that he's going to be in it next season and ruin it. But I don't know. I'm getting this really dreadful feeling that Jon is actually dead, and I don't know what they're going to do at this point. I don't know, does anyone else feel that Jon was like the only character left to root for, minus Dany, sort of? Who is left for the throne? I don't know, Ramsay Bolton for president 2016? Also, where was Ghost? Ghost has been here once this season in that stupid scene where Gilly almost gets raped, and he saved Gilly and Sam, but Jon's getting stabbed to death and Ghost is apparently out for a drink or on vacation. I also want to point out that it is called A Song of Ice and Fire. Ice and fire! You just melted all the ice, guys. Okay? Jon, Dany, Ice and Fire. Now it's only a song of fire. You chose the wrong book title. I'm calm. I'm calm. So that's it for my Game of Thrones talk. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about the season finale or season 5 in general. Leave me comments below. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the season, the books, basically anything. I can talk about Game of Thrones literally forever. So let's just talk about it. Bye, guys.